Hey everyone, it's Sensei Victoria Whitfield from naturalintuition.com. I'm your Business Reiki Master, and I'm welcoming you back to episode 30 of the Journeypreneur Podcast, your source for channeled holistic stress management techniques, guidance, inspiration, and motivation on your path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur. So the title of this episode is to keep it simple. Keep it simple. So, with love, I don't really like it when people say keep it simple, stupid. No, that's so kind of self-abusive. So for me, I like to think of keep it simple, sweetheart, or my sweet love. I'd rather be speaking words of like gentleness to myself than calling myself stupid, because there is plenty of pattern in there for that for me. But it's a Tuesday. It's yet another Tuesday, and for me, historically, I usually set aside Tuesdays for receiving coaching, attending masterminds, leading masterminds, but not within my business. Like, this is the day for me, for networking, for being poured into. Occasionally, I will take a private client on a Tuesday, but it's only the clients who've been with me for many years, who it's just second nature whenever they're around. I love it. It's like they're just like another part of the family, being with me. So it's not a big deal, and only for an hour. So that I love Tuesdays. They're much more free-flowing, much easygoing, but at the same time, super thoughtful and visionary. So I love my receiving day, Tuesdays. And one of the things that came up in a lot of the coaching I've been receiving and witnessing today, right? Because as we're at masterminds, you get to watch other people get coached by the entire group. And then I also had received some coaching myself, some sales coaching. And there was like a common theme throughout all of my experiences today, and it was around keep it simple. So one of the sisters at Mastermind in the evening tonight, which I'm driving back from, by the way. So yay, we're driving back and staying awake. She was like, okay, so I have my podcast, and I know that the interviews are going really well because she uses inviting guests to her podcast to interview them. She uses that actually as part of her sales funnel, which is super ninja, right? So as soon as they're done recording, she then goes into, like, it's someone who could be an ideal client of hers. So they immediately go into a sales conversation about, like, I think we could, help you further. Would you like to move forward with working together? That sort of a thing. And she's like, I know it's working, and we've gotten consistent clients from it, but, we got to mix it up because, what if our podcast is just all interviews? And what was so awesome, such a mic drop moment, Thomas Shibley, he was just like, he looked at her out the corner of his eye and said, so? I was sitting there with her husband, like, watching this exchange, and we're just both like, oh my goodness, Thomas just completely mic dropped on Sway. So, keeping it simple, right? And then her husband piped in, he's like, well, Larry King made his whole career on interviews, right? He started piping in, and I feel her because we as entrepreneurs and creatives and visionary women, we're like coming up with ideas and always wanting the new, the now, the next, even if something worked. We're like, yeah, that worked. All right, what are we going to do now? What's the new thing that we're going to create? And well, let's keep keep it going. Let's keep this momentum going, but on to new, different stuff for the sake of being different. And that made me think of you, because how many times on our journey do we have a win, and rather than like anchor the win by looking at it and saying, okay, how can I do more of what works? We tend to be like, all right, let's on to the next thing. Not even celebrating the win, not even taking time to really savor the success. We tend to jump on to the next thing. So I just wanted to pop in here and pose that thought. How can we, as conscious entrepreneurs, keep it simple, my sweet loves? Like, how can we keep it simple? So if something works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If anything, if it's working, how can we scale it or leverage it or multiply it or package it up and resell it so that more people can do the same the same thing that works? It was really, really powerful. There's something about being an artist where you're always in a state of creation. And that can, as an entrepreneur, right, someone who is artistic or creative, like who's more creative, we're kind of at a disadvantage in that sense, because here we are always creating and inventing and creating and inventing and creating and inventing, right? Reinventing the wheel over and over and over again. Whereas we had a perfectly awesome and functioning wheel before. We could have just, hopped on it. We could have gone somewhere. It's actually kind of addictive. The more that I'm speaking right now, the more that my guides keep repeating the word addiction in and around this issue of like nonstop creating, where that whole creative process is so juicy. It's like something that pulls you in and is really super exciting. And seeing something grow and become, right? Being in a state of becoming right in front of your eyes. It's so seductive and curious, and you don't know what's coming next and if it's going to work. That creation process actually ends up being more fun than receiving the thing that you were creating in the first place, oddly enough. And if this has been your situation, be kind to yourself. This is actually a grounding issue where we've got to consciously make time and space to put down roots, to have reflection time, to create space for head space, mental space, honoring and reflecting and documenting what has worked. And journaling, daily journaling, is so powerful for that. Now, when I say that, I think of one client in particular who's been with me forever, and who I do see occasionally on Tuesdays. She's like, I can't journal. I literally cannot journal. It just doesn't work. So here's the thing. My client, she uses me as her journal, right? I've become her diary, where our sessions together are her reflection time, where she's not really the type of person who, and also she has some physical challenges that prevent her from doing this. She's not the type of person who's going to sit down and start typing or writing out into a journal, like, dear diary, here's what happened yesterday that went well, here's what's, and because of that, here's what we're going to do today, and this is what our plan is for tomorrow, here's what I'm frustrated about, here's what I blah, blah, blah. Right? She's never been that type of person to sit down and journal. She processes as an extrovert, right? Not everybody's into the whole journaling thing. And I'm honored to get to hold space for her, me being her diary, right? And our sessions are recorded, as all of my private VIP sessions are, and hosted on our private server, so they could go back, and if they need to re-listen to their notes from me being her diary, she absolutely can. But this keeping things simple involves going back and making space for going back to see what worked. How can I simplify this? And that in the coaching call that I had, I received a sales coaching call today, and we were talking all about these very simple phrases called tie downs that I'm not saying. And he's like, do you know you could double your close rate if you would just say these simple phrases? He's like, you actually need to make your sales calls even more minimal, Victoria. Like, I know you don't talk much at all. You tend to listen, but you can make it even more potent by shaving it down even more. And for me, that was blowing my mind. I'm a natural teacher at heart, but I'm on my journey, learning how to do this better, how to serve more people. You and I both, I'm sure. And so to shift out of the teacher into the salesperson, for example, who's advocating for a life transformation in the person who's on the other end of the phone or on the other end of the video call or at the other end of the table who I'm speaking to, shifting into that goddess who's going to hold space for that person taking a step into a whole nother dimension in their life by signing up for a program or signing up for a retreat with me. That who I'm being in that moment, I am not being a teacher. I'm not being a coach or a consultant. This is an entirely different role, and I'm receiving coaching around how to be better at standing in that role and holding that gentle space, that apparently very minimal space, so that the person on the other end can fill it with their desire as well as their action. So, and for the sister I was talking about before, it's about not trying to change a perfectly good podcast. She's like, well, wouldn't people be annoyed if it was like if an interview all the time? No! I love listening to interviews. It's so interesting to hear each person's unique thing. That's also why I love going to masterminds. Because people could be asking the same question. It doesn't matter. Every person is unique. So just, if only just for today, right? And as I always say on this podcast, as we say in Reiki, just for today, how can we keep it simple, right? Or how can we simplify this process, right? It's so powerful to ask that question. Even if you were to set a timer for like 5 minutes, where you sat down and for 5 minutes asked yourself and thought and wrote or talked into, how can I simplify this? Whatever it is, how can I simplify my morning routine? How can I simplify my commute to work? How can I simplify this package that I'm presenting? How can I simplify my sales process? How can I simplify my marketing plan for my business? How can I simplify my business? How can I simplify my role or my teammate's role? So on and so forth. If you just 5 minutes, I double dog dare you to set that timer 5 minutes to think, write, speak, journal into that as a concept and see what happens. If only just for today, right? Try it out. So that's what I have to offer for you today. If you do need help keeping things simple and simplifying your life, by all means, that's why we do the retreats, is to create that really powerful container for you to focus in, right? So that you can have enough headspace, have enough energy to simplify your life. It's easier to work on the business when you are not working in the business. So come on and retreat with us. Go to naturalintuition.com, click on that retreats button, and you can even also, it has there, you could set up a call where we can talk through your options around joining in our next multi-day retreat. We do strategic spa retreats for conscious entrepreneurs like yourself, where you get to relax with intention, right? Intentionally unplugging from your business, calming and clearing your body so that with a clear head and a clear energy, you're able to move through that reinvention and rebirth process. All right, would love to see you there. Again, go to naturalintuition.com, click on that retreats button, and also hit the share. Maybe there's someone that you know who needs to keep things a little bit more simple, my dear sweet loves. Would love to get to inspire them and encourage them. Thank you so much for your support, for liking, sharing, commenting. I really appreciate you. Please enjoy the journey. Do not lose that glow as you grow yourself and your business. So, 30 episodes, on to the next one. We'll see you there. All right, bye for now.